I love revenge. Well, I mean, I guess technically I personally haven't experienced the need for revenge, and technically I guess I'm really not that much of a fan of a personal vengeance type of situation. But I do love reading books about it, fictionalized books about it, fictionalized movies about, well-deserved comeuppance. One of my favorite things to say whenever my wife is watching one of her movies is when you kind of see, like, obviously the snide or sarcastic or evil dude in whatever movie she's watching, I was like, I bet he gets his comeuppance eventually, and she just looks at me and glares at me. But I mean, it's one of those things that everybody really likes. It's very satisfying in a world where, like, it just seems like people getting exactly what they deserve seems to not happen nearly enough. Movies and escapism gives us that in droves, and there's tons of wonderful vengeance movies out there. I mean, the Outlaw Josie Wales, the Death Wish movies with Charles Bronson. Man on Fire is a wonderful revenge movie. Even like Old Boy, the original Old Boy. I mean, that's just a very, very good, weird vengeance movie, and so, I mentioned Old Boy because basically this image right here just kind of makes me think of that movie. Obviously, the hallway battle, if you will. And what this game is this game is exactly this. It is called Vengeance. And this game is about basically a vengeance movie. It is, each character is going to be taking on the role of somebody that has been wronged by a gang. They have whatever reason, the gang just has it out for you and has come after you and has done bad things to you, whether it is mental anguish or, just flat out just taking it to you in the streets. They have damaged you, and you have snapped, and you have decided to seek vengeance upon those and wreak your havoc upon them. So it is a game that basically progresses your way through the different aspects of vengeance movies, basically, and along the way you're earning victory points by succeeding in ridding the world of these corrupt fools that thought you were an easy mark, if you will. So let me show you how vengeance works, and then we will come back here and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, cool. Alright, here we go. This is Vengeance. Now, before I begin, I'm just going to say right off the bat, I am not going to go over every single aspect of how to play the game. I am going to give you kind of a brief overview here, though I am going to make very special attention made to the fight section of the game, because obviously that is what is going to be the part that is going to be the most enjoyable for everybody, the actual getting of the vengeance. But to get there, you have to do a few other things first. Okay, to begin with, each person is going to pick a character, and then there are 6 of these that I got. This is a prototype that I received, a very, very high-level prototype with some very cool minis and some very, very thick, chunky cardboard, but a prototype nonetheless. And each one of these is like a very distinct person. And I really appreciated the fact that they did not go with like very generic characters here. They actually like tried to go very thematic, if you will. I mean, like Kaja the florist, but she's like a veteran, and like she was like probably a veteran of like some foreign war or something like that. Punk had some old punk, Johnny Silver, and like, he's got slow-mo vision, may re-roll 1 additional unlocked fight die per round. So I don't know if he's like just seen it all or done too many drugs, whatever. But the Shadow Man, Reverend Gray, the priest, Leah Pistolera, which I think might be an allusion to the professional, on the young lady, whatever. And then so a little, go to the trucker lady and so forth. Anyway, so you can hand these out randomly. You can pick them, whatever. Remember, this isn't a cooperative game. This is something where you're each going to be working to try to get your vengeance, but whoever does the best job at getting their vengeance wins the game. Anyway, so I'm going to take Reverend Gray. I just dig the idea of a drunken priest with a gun. Kind of cool. Anyway, and so his special ability here is Frenzied. If you suffer 2+ hurt, I'll explain damage here in just a little bit. In one round, you deal 1 damage to a minion at the end of the round. So obviously he's gets hurt and goes crazy or whatever. The combat portion of the game is determined a lot by how well you are holding up as far as your stats go. When you take damage, you'll just be covering up these blocks with those red cubes that you can see in that bowl over there. And then as you cover these up, you will lose hit points as you go down. Obviously, if you lose hit points, you get knocked unconscious and you're done. You can't get killed in the game, but you can basically, since most of your points are going to come from waging battles against these gangs, you don't want to get knocked unconscious in any way, because then you can't earn points. But anyway, so that's your health. Your skill determines how many dice you get to roll when you are fighting in these dens of evil here. And then the mind determines the dice that you roll, and then there's a dice draft. And the number of dice you roll, and everybody rolls dice, and they put them in a dice draft, but the number of dice you get to roll determines how many dice you get to take out of the dice draft. And then you get to use those dice to give you different powers and heal and things like that. Alright, so just briefly, a couple things here. You might notice that there are, here it says 2S. So it's 3 dice, roll 2S. What does the S mean? Well, the S means that when you take a die out of the dice draft, you're allowed to swap it to a different side. So you'll take the die out and say it's a speed die or something like that. You can switch it to, say, a health die or something like that. And so you can see then 2, and 1S like that. These RR, you might guess, that's a reroll. So you just get to roll a dice over if you don't like the result when you're in combat. If you see a plus, that means you get to use this bonus green die that is right there. And so, and as you can see, as you go down and so forth, you take the damage. Now you might also notice that there is this 3 hard, whatever. These things take damage, like I said. To heal those, you have to use heart results, which are on dice and some other items you can get as well as like that. So 1 heart will heal 1 health, 3 hearts heals a skill, 3 hearts heals a mind, and then you can notice that there's this other darker cube here. Those are these brown cubes that are in that bowl over there. If you take a severe damage, which is a brown cube, it would take 3 healing to heal a health, and then 4 and 4, so they're tougher to heal. Anyway, so you have these, and you have spaces for upgrades here. You might be wondering, well, where are the upgrades? Upgrades are in that section over there. These upgrades just basically give you a special ability. If they are an ability like this, you put them on there and you get them for the rest of the game. So in this case, a gun becomes a knife result. And I'll explain why that matters here in just a little bit when I talk about fighting. So you put those there. Some upgrades will just be items, like, say, this machete. So you get this machete. It is a one-time use. So you put it there. It's an upgrade. You say, I'm going to use this machete. I add 1 damage to all my knife results. As soon as you get done using it, you discard it, and you get rid of it. But then, of course, you open up that spot again to put another upgrade on there. Alright, so that is your character board. Now then, before the game begins, before you actually start seeking your vengeance, there has to be a reason why you're seeking your vengeance. And so you have this kind of the prelude and the wronging section. And what that is that each person is going to get a deck of these vengeance cards. I'm not going to go through the whole process, but they're going to get 9 of these cards to start with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9. And then they're going to pick one, and they're going to pass it to the left, pick one, pass it to the left, pick one, pass it to the left, until you are left with 7 cards in your hand. And then what these cards are they're going to have a name of this boss. So this is this boss that wronged you in some way. And so you can even see here that this boss, he gave you a beating. And so it did 2 hurt damage to you. And so if you remember correctly on the thing, that means that before it even starts, you're going to take 2 hurt damage on that spot. And so some of these other things are here is Limp Oscar gave you a smashed hip. Gave you sleep deprivation. Kaiser gave you a broken arm, and so on and so forth. And so what you're going to do is after you get your hand of these cards, you're going to pick 3 of these cards as your starting vengeance, who you want to defeat. And the reason why these are important is because the vengeance that you're going for will get you points, and you can double up on these cards. So if you just have, say, this one Battle Man here, and if you defeat him, he's going to be worth 2 points. But say, remember you're passing these to the left, and so you can, try to prevent people from doubling up on cards, whatever, because you don't want to give them access to more points. But if you picked both, these two Limp Oscar cards that gave you smashed hips, so I guess he smashes both your hips, then it'd be worth 3 points if you defeat him, because you'd have 2 cards. And obviously you can combine up to 3 of each one. So let's just say I did that. Let's say I took Battle Man and these 3, and I have those, and everybody reveals these at the same time to show, that they have those. And now you can kind of tell who people are going to be going after as far as who they want to defeat. And so then, because I got one crazy because of the fact that Battle Man gave me the water method, so you put a little marker right there. And then I'm going to take 2 broken, which I'm going to cover up like so. And so then I'm going to have that damage, and then you can come with like a cool backstory, like, Reverend Grey was trying to, keep kids off of drugs or something like that, and Battle Man and Limp Oscar decided to take it to him as he was proselytizing on the streets or what have you, and now after being beaten and broken, he's decided that He's not going to let God handle this. He's going to handle it himself, if you will. So there you go. You got a little backstory. You got a fun little vengeance tale you're going to tell. And later on, you'll be able to play more vengeance cards and things like that. And you'll get more cards for bigger and better bosses. But they are going to come from one of 4 different gangs that are in the game. All right. So now you've got your prelude, you've got your beginning in the movie, and now you're going to go to the montage where, they're training or they're going through their soul searching or whatever. You can play that bad 80s saxophone music in the background if you want, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to dive into the mind section where you're going to be rolling these dice, and you're going to be taking those dice and using them and applying them to your character. Alright, I'm not going to go ahead and roll all the montage dice, if you will, but basically when everybody's going to roll these equal to their mind level, so we have 2 for Reverend Grey here, and everybody else is going to roll those dice as well. You roll them into a big pool, and then each person, depending on player order, is going to take those dice and 1 out. And remember, you can't take out more dice than you rolled, so Reverend Grey can only take out a possible 2 dice. And the dice themselves, they have health. They have these are a wild result. Basically, it adds a bonus of 1 that they have. This is the lightning bolt allows you to purchase the power-ups that are over there, and then you have this, which is a recon result. And recon results give you your recon tokens, which are these cool little dudes over here. And then if you put a recon token on a boss picture, you can then look at that boss and see if it's somebody that that either a gang or a boss that you're personally looking for at that time, because it doesn't do you any good to go up and beat up a group that you aren't feeling vengeance towards, right? So you want to be able to make sure you're fighting the right one. Now you don't tell anybody unless you want to. You can tell people, you can lie about it or whatever, but you don't normally want to keep that information to yourself. Now, also in combination, if you didn't get the dice that you wanted to roll, you also have your montage cards, and everybody has these cards, and these have 2 stats on them. They have a speed number, which is important because the higher your speed is, then what order you're going to go in as far as with picking the ability bonuses over there, and also how quickly you are going to be choosing which den that you're going to attack, which is also important because remember, if you're both seeking vengeance on the same boss, the person who gets in there and takes him out first, obviously is going to get the points. So you have here you have a recon bonus, you have a health bonus, here we have an ability choosing upgrades bonus, and so forth. And so also on the top, and you might not be able to see this, and I apologize. Let me just grab another player board here, you'll notice that there's the 3 spots that are available to put these cards on, and then they match up. And so this one automatically gets a +2, that one automatically gets a +1, and that one gets a +0. So your choices here, like if you didn't get dice that you liked, like like I'd probably want to try to get enough healing that I can heal up at least 1 point in the skill, because I want to be able to get my 4 dice when I roll. So what I could do is, to make sure that I get those 3 healing, I could go and I could find one that has health on it, like this. And I could say that +2. Like if I didn't get any dice that are on there, I could put that on my +1, guaranteeing you that I'm going to get those 3 healing, which is going to allow me to heal one of those. Now, let's for example, let's say I got 1 recon die because I want to be able to look, and I got 1 because of my 2 dice, and I got 1 to upgrade. So I'm gonna want to buy another upgrade. So I'm gonna go look through my cards here, and I'm gonna find that the best upgrade, the one I have, is this guy right here. So I could, if I put that one there, and I put that upgrade die on, like there, that would give me a total of 4 on there. And then if I look and I wanted to be able to recon, I want to recon everything, but let's say I did this one because I want that +3 speed, because I want to be able to go early in the combat. I'm going to place this one there, and I place that recon on there. That's going to give me 1 recon, so hopefully I can get lucky and pick one that I want to fight. And then it's going to give me +3 speed. So there you go. So after all is said and done, I'm going to have 4 upgrade tokens, and then I'm going to go, my speed is 5, and so this, and each player will put their token on the speed track here to determine in what order you go as far as that goes. And then I'd heal up that 1 health like so I'd be able to have 4 dice when I fight, and then I get 1 recon token. So let's just go ahead and put a recon token on there to show that I'm going to check out for that boss, and I'm going to get 2 I have 4 points to spend on upgrades. Now with upgrades, you don't get to save them. So like if I don't like the ones that are out here, I can't decide, well, I'll wait and next turn maybe I'll get a good one. So I got to pick one of those. So one of the cool things is that like if you have these bigger ones, like either like slow-mo shot, you can change any result to a gun result. So that would be like so that having a gun is good because it allows you to shoot into another area. Also with this other one, the 3, it has after kill, after you kill somebody, you can discard a move result into 2 gun results. So stuff like that. Those are good, powerful, big abilities. But maybe I don't want 2 of those. I want to to have 2 really good. I want to be able to have some adjustments available to me, and I want to take the ability to go ahead and have, so like a knife throw and point blank allows me to switch both those dice over, and here is with a knife and a gun, I can get 3 times damage on 1 thing. So I'm going to go ahead and take those upgrades and put them on Reverend Gray, and I'm sorry, you probably can't see that because it's too low, but you can see now I've got those 3 cool upgrades. And I mean, admittedly, those probably wouldn't still be available. Each person gets to choose, but let's just say I was able to purchase those 3 just for the sake of showing you how this game is played. Alright, so now I have Reverend Gray, and let's just see what we have here. So let's see what the boss, I'm going to look at the boss, and I got lucky. It is a guy that I'm actually looking for, that I'm looking for vengeance for. It's Batman. I would have rather had found a limp Oscar because he can get me more points, but that's okay. So we're going to turn him over, and one of the things is now if we're moving into the fight phase, you'll see that he has another minion with him. So that, and the color of the minion determines, like the spot determines what type of minion will be there. So let's just take this guy and put him into that location. Oh, and I got to put Battleman in there as well. So let's take his boss figure here. Go ahead and put the boss on there as well. And he has 2 health, as you can see there. And also, like all these other locations have the different people that are on those spots. And so also what's going to happen is that I'm going to go ahead and place my Reverend Grey on that location. Now, when it's my turn, like if this is, I got to pick to fight that spot, I'm going to fight that spot, and what's going to happen is the most fun part of the game. So here we go. I have access to 4 fight dice. I am currently fully healthy, so I can still take damage in there, but I think the chances are pretty good. However, I only get 3 turns or 3 fights to be able to take him out. All right, so let's start the fun, if you will. Let's burst into this den of evil and see if I can successfully take out the boss and earn some victory points here. So to begin with, you are allowed to run, which is an action, which basically carries you into the next room. But if you're in a room that has other gang members, they will do damage to you for every spot that you go through. So, but at the beginning, I'm able to run actually pretty easily because there's nobody in there, so I can enter that room. And let's go ahead and roll the dice here. And I rolled horribly. But here's the thing is that even though I didn't roll anything to actually help out myself by rolling all 4 gang results. These mean that all the gangers activate. I am allowed, because if you roll really, really poorly, you're allowed to do a re-roll. And I can take 3 of these dice, and I'm gonna pick these 3. Because that just activates the boss, and that really won't hurt me. And I'm going to re-roll these 3 and see what I get here. So, I'm going to take that. And so, I have these two results of bosses activating, which doesn't bother me right now. And I have these 2 activations, which will allow me to do 2 knife attacks. So what I can do there is I can use... well, the one thing is that with these 2 knives, you're not allowed to like split up those attacks. You have to attack, focus them all at one. But sometimes like you'll have a boss or like a bodyguard, like a bodyguard minion like this guy, who has 2 hit points, which you have to use those to take them out. And hit damage does not carry over for minions from round to round, so it's one of those things where you have to do all the damage all at once, so keep that in mind. I should mention also, just a couple other special abilities. If these guys that have a yellow base, they are called blockers. Once you're in a room that has one of those guys, you have to kill him to be able to move out of that location. The guys that have a green base, they have a gun, and they can actually shoot you from room to room. However, they can't damage you if you happen to be in the same room as them. So if I had, say, rolled, let's just say I did that. So let's say I got one of these activations here. So what I can do here is I could take out one with this knife, take out this guy with this knife, and the heroes always go first before the bad guys, unless they belong to the Lord's gang, which is the biker gang. They are the ones that can go first. I'm fighting the Tengu Kai, which is kind of like the Yakuza. And the Tengu Kai, what they do is when their bosses activate, they do more damage. They do 2 points of damage instead of 1. So that's their special ability. So now I have a situation where I have to activate him. These guys don't move. They don't go move from room to room, but he will shoot me. And so I would have to take 1 point of health damage, like so. And I take that. So the next round, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see what I rolled here. And, oh, I got a good result here. So now I can kind of, be a little bit tricky here. And what I can do is I could shoot into this room, but I don't really want to do that, because the fact that grunts, these guys at the back base, when you shoot into the other room, they have to be the ones that take the damage. So what I could do here to be clever is I could use this as a move result, which is like a move that I can move. And if there was like a guy in this room and I used a move result, no blocker, I wouldn't take damage for using a move result. But I'm going to move into the other room, and what I'm going to do then is I'm going to use this gun to shoot this minion that's in that room with him. And then I'm going to use this knife result to take out him, and I'm going to use this knife result to take out him. Now the cool thing is, since I've wiped out all the minions, I'm going to get some victory points because of the fact that I'm seeking vengeance, and there's this den that says 2. I'm going to get 2 victory points for doing that. I'm also going to get to take this wild token that I'm going to be able to use on a later turn, that I can use either as a wild token or as a recon for free. So now what I got to do is I got to get into this room with my last turn, and I gotta kill the boss. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll these dice. Let's see what I get here. So I get my move, but I rolled 3 of these results again. So luckily I get to reroll those 3. So let's see here. And there you go. I'm going to be able to pull it off. I'm going to move into this room. There's the bad guy. And I'm going to be able to do enough damage to him that I'm going to take out that boss. And because I'm able to do that, I'm able to turn in this Vengeance card to show that at 2 points, because Battleman had, like, done, made me crazy. And so I can go ahead and I get 4 victory points for succeeding in that battle. Now, after that is done, what you'll do is you will replace that particular board with another den board, and then you'll place it on there, and you'll place a new boss card on it to show that there's another boss and a brand new adventure, a brand new mini battle that you're going to have to do in that location. Now, obviously, that first one went pretty well for me because of the fact that, the dice I rolled and what have you. But as your damage scales up, you'll have less and less resources available to you, and that will be more and more difficult for you to succeed at doing. And plus, like I said, I got a little lucky with the dice as well. But that is, in essence, how a fight works. You are able to run out if the battle's going bad for you. You can run out, and so you don't take as much damage. And if you do that, then you have to take damage from the people that you're running past to get out. And also, if you don't take out the boss, like if I hadn't defeated the boss at that last part, I would still get, like as I said, the victory points for doing that. And it's quite possible, actually, if you can make your way to the boss, you could actually take the boss out, but then the minions take you down when you'd get the victory points for the boss, but not for actually cleaning out the den, if you will. So there you go. I mean, that's that. And so after that is done, and after everybody goes and does their battle, then you're just going to resupply, restart up. You're going to go through the whole process again, and you're going to continue fighting, and then the game will end after you get through 3 acts, which is like basically the 3 acts of the movie as you go through. And theoretically, as the game progresses, you're going to get bigger and badder bosses that you're going to be fighting. It's like, here's like the Prez, which is like the head of the biker gang, or Roxy Queen, who happens to be the leader of the Lords and what have you. And or here is Kaizo Ono, which is the leader of the Tenku-Kai. So as you progress and you fight the bigger and badder bosses, you have the 3 acts, which are like the extended acts of vengeance, if you will. After all that is said and done, you total up your victory points you got from beating them up, and then you have like these mission cards that say like the player with the most wild tokens still held at the end of the game gains 2 victory points, or count the number of crazy damage. Severe crazy counts as 2 normal crazy. The character the least crazy gains 3, and then players nominate 1 gang and go through their scored vengeance card. All players gain 1 victory point for each card belonging to that gang, including duplicates. And so you total up the end victory points using those criteria, and whoever gets the most victory points will win the game and be the master of vengeance, if you will. The game, there are very few games out there that really capture exactly the feel of what they're going for. I mean, a lot of games try, and a lot of games do really well, but some games manage to encapsulate that pretty perfectly. And Vengeance is definitely one of them. I'm a big fan of vengeance movies, vengeance stories, if you will. And like I said, you get to create the kind of story of your character as you play this, and it's a lot of fun. But let me talk all about that and more in my final thoughts. Alright, before I dive in and talk about my final thoughts like I want to, there's 2 things I want to mention. One, I just realized that I mentioned that I re-rolled those dice. I re-rolled 3 of the 4 dice that had the enemy activation on them. Actually, you get to re-roll all of them, so I apologize for that rules error. The second thing is I had 4 dens out. Technically, you have 6 dens out that are to choose from that you're going to be going after. The reason I only had 4 was because I have a fairly small table, and this game does take up a little bit of the real estate on your table when you're setting it up. So I apologize if I misled you in any way with those 2 things. Anyway, so regardless, like I said, I really enjoy when a game says, hey, this is going to be the theme of the game, and we're really going to just embrace that theme and just gnaw on it and really, you know, make you feel like you're part of that theme. And this totally does it. Whenever I played this with my game group, all of us were either referencing old movies that we'd watched, like, you know, classic revenge movies that we watched, or we were coming up with our own storylines for our characters. Like I just did, you know, I did that brief little idea of you know, the Reverend, you know, like the Reverend gone bad, you know, like after, like, you know, some poor kid was killed in the streets, you know, that he tried to mentor or what have you. You know, you can come up with that, and then you're like, oh, Tengu Kai, you're gonna get it now, you know. And plus, I mean, this definitely has those like fist pumping moments when, like, if you buy into that theme and you buy into the prospect of it, you are definitely going to have that. It's just like you have that image of, like, as the first act is like you burst in the door and they're like, we thought you were dead, you know. It's like, I'm not dead, you know, like, and then like as the game progresses and the bosses get tougher, they're like, oh, you know, it's like the Reverend, the one we left for dead, yeah, he's still alive and he's stalking us. Oh, he's just a man of the cloth. And all of a sudden, boom, he blows up another place and, you know, drags a guy out and beats him to death with a Jack Daniels bottle or something. And then you finally get to the final step where it's like, now, like, he, you know, goes into like the Yakuza lord, and like, here's this guy that, like, has, you know, been a martial artist his entire life, and he's gonna, you know, show the Reverend, you know, what is, and beats him to nearly an inch from the end of his life, but somehow you manage to, like, you know, muscle up the intestinal fortitude, if you will, and you know, bring an end to their horrible gang, you know, and then until the sequel. Obviously, of the movie. But yeah, so you have that, and yes, you're getting victory points, and you're doing the process, and you're going the game, if you will. But this isn't really, for me, it wasn't a game that I was trying to win. For me, it was a game I was trying to create, like, a story, an idea of my character, of my movie, if you will. And if you are somebody that enjoys games that kind of like leave the game behind, you know, yeah, there's the process of the game, there's you know, there's a winner at the end, but if you're able to leave that behind, and yeah, it's still fun to win, but who cares, but have a very, very satisfying journey for your character, I think you're gonna enjoy the heck out of this one. It is fantastic. It's got a bunch of dice, it's got a little bit of player interaction, but not a lot. I mean, you can't really, you know, fight each other. You can kind of, you know, like, you know, go after vengeance with the same gang and claim it before the other person. But for the most part, you know, there isn't a huge amount of interactivity. This is more of each person just being in a star of their own movie, and, you know, every once in a while basically doing a cameo in the other person's film. And I think that works perfect for this game. And it allows each person to shine, each person to have their own moment of glory, and then at the end, you know, it's like, if you want to really care, you can figure out who actually won the game. So there you go. That is Vengeance. If you have any questions about it, by all means, please ask away. I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, I'm the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.